Kia ora, Helen Brums here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast number 2185, The Bravest Thing I Did Today. It is episode 5 in our week of talking about tiny acts of boldness. So, are you ready to get started? Find out what was the bravest thing you did today? I think the bravest thing I did today was getting online. I'm just kidding. I do this every day. I guess for some people it would be an act of bravery since I do it every day and it scares the crap out of some people, but that's okay. We're here. We're all friends here. So here's our opening thought. Bravery doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's a whisper that says, I'll try again tomorrow. Or a quiet action no one notices, but you'll never forget. Tonight we honor the everyday courage that carries us forward. It teaches us boldness often hides in ordinary moments. Courage doesn't need an audience to count. Tiny acts like asking for help. Okay, for me, that would definitely be an act of boldness. Tiny acts like asking for help, setting a limit, showing up tired can be the bravest part of your day. What's small on the outside might be monumental on the inside. I will tell you this, I struggle when I have asking for help. I am somebody who is always giving. I am always serving. But when it comes to myself, I very rarely ask for help. And it often takes people saying, hey, can I help you with da-da-da-da? And it's sort of like, okay. But I feel guilty about so for me, asking for help is a step of boldness for me. Accepting help is also an act of boldness. And inside I'm sort of like, I really can't accept help. I should be able to do this by myself. And I go through all these excuses as to why I should decline any offers of help. But there are times that you do have to step outside and, it may seem like a small thing to somebody else, but to me inside, I am like shaking like a leaf because I have to go and ask for help. So that's one thing that if I had managed to ask somebody for help, that's huge for me. That's huge. To others, it may not seem huge. It's just an everyday thing. But what happens when you start noticing your courage instead of dismissing it? You allow yourself to be proud without proof. Oh, wouldn't that feel good? You let go of needing bravery to look a certain way. Yes, people often see bravery as a certain image in their mind, and when it actually happens, they sort of thought, that wasn't what I thought it would be. So, and you've got to stop comparing your courage to somebody else's highlight reel. When you're scrolling through reels on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, any social media site, when you're scrolling through these reels, you're just getting this tiny, tiny glimpse into somebody's life. And you go, oh, they were really brave that they did that. Wow. I would never be able to do that. No. Yeah, no, I don't have that much courage. You could have courage in areas that they do not. All you're seeing is just that little tiny snippet, that little 30-second snippet of their life. 30 seconds, was it 30 seconds? Now 3 minutes you can do up to those on those things. You're just seeing that tiny little snippet of when they are either doing something that they're used to doing and they happen to catch it on tape, or they're doing something for the first time, but you don't see everything that leads up to that moment or anything that happens after that moment. You just see that moment and you're comparing going, oh, I couldn't do that. I'm not that brave. No. But here's the thing. You are brave in your own way. You got to stop comparing yourself to somebody else. Stop comparing your courage to someone else's highlight reel, because what you're doing, they may turn around and go, oh, I couldn't do that. Oh, that's brave. I couldn't do that. Like the woman in the RV park when I was setting up my RV, and she turns around and she goes, did you just arrive today? And I go, yes. And she said, and you drove this by yourself? And I went, yes. She goes, oh, you are so brave. And to me, it was sort of like, it's no big deal. I'm just driving a vehicle. But of course, this was a 32-foot long vehicle. The size, it's a Class A RV. And I was driving it around and through traffic and everything else. And I managed to get it into the parking area, into the site, and I'm hooking it all up. And to her, that was that I was being brave. To me, it was nothing out of the ordinary. So when you're comparing your courage to someone else's highlight reel, that could be something that they do on an everyday basis, but yet you see it as an act of courage. Think about that. Just think about that. I didn't think I was brave at all. I just thought, well, I've got to get from here to there, and I wanted to come over here and explore this, so what's the big deal? I drive an RV, so what? You kind of, at first, the first time I drove my RV, I was petrified. I was, especially out on the road, I was so scared. And I'm like crawling along there on the freeway. In the very right-hand lane, going from one exit, I had to go, how many exits did I have to? I had to go like 5 miles on the freeway. This is the first time in the RV. I just picked up from the dealership. I'm driving it to the campsite. I am like nervous as heck because I have never been taught how to drive anything this big before. My driving experience with this vehicle was they took it off the lot for me, then put me into the driver's seat, and I basically just drove around the block. And then before I picked up, I says, I have to learn how to how to reverse in this thing. And so I was able to reverse my reversing was more confident than my driving forward was. Let me say that again. Reversing in an RV, I was more confident about that than I was about driving forward. Yes, so I signed all the paperwork. I got my keys and everything. I went and picked up the RV and drove it to the campsite. And I'm like gripping, my knuckles were white. I'm like gripping the steering wheel. It's going like this in my hand. I'm probably doing this down the road. And when I didn't realize at the time, but the vehicle needed alignment, which did not help in any way, shape, or form when I was driving on the freeway. And I get it up to 45, I get it to 50, and it starts shaking. And that's why I didn't know that it needed an alignment, and it starts shaking. And of course, when we're driving on the city streets, we didn't get any of that shaking because we didn't get up to 50. But when we got between 50 and 55, it would start shaking. And I got to 50 and it starts shaking, and my hands just gripped even tighter, which made it even worse. And then when I got off the freeway, I was like, okay, now we're going to get to the campsite. So I got to the campsite, and then I had to choose I could choose any side I want. So I wanted one that was a pull through. There was no way I was figuring this vehicle out when I just got it on backing, even though I knew I could back it very well. So I found a pull through, got it there, got it all set up. Then I had to call Uber or Lyft to come and get me to take me back to the dealership so I could pick up my car. And then I got back to the RV. I was shaking so much by the time I parked that RV. And then to make matters worse, on my first night in the RV, this will show you how my asking for help goes. Okay. I've been to Walmart. I picked up some stuff for the RV. I had some stuff in my car. My car had all been unloaded, everything been put away in the RV. I was working it all out, working out what I needed to get. Things like dish detergent and hand soap and all of that sort of stuff, just the basics. And so I went off to Walmart, got the stuff. I got back. It's dark. I put my key in the lock. I had 2 locks. There was a top and a bottom lock, and there were 2 different keys. I could not unlock my RV. And I'm standing there and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? How can I do this? How can I do this? And I could not for the life of me get this thing to unlock. I'm going to have to ask for help. I'm in this campground. There's an RV next to me, and I thought, I'm going to go. And then I remember that somebody said, if you ever, this was the funniest thing I got told at the RV dealership. I learned a lot buying this RV, all the stuff I did wrong. But anyway, one piece of good advice they gave me, they said, if you ever get into trouble in your RV and you need help, like especially on the engine stuff, they said, just open the engine bay and stand there with a hammer. Like this, like you're about to strike something, and like look like you're looking in the engine. What is it I'm supposed to hit? And they said, you'll have several guys around you wanting to help you at once. Well, this was dark. Everybody was inside in their RVs. And I'm like, I am going to have to go and ask somebody for help. Talk about having to step up, having that brave moment, and going to that door and knocking loudly on the door, because I could hear them all talking inside, and they kept on talking. I thought they didn't hear me. And then all of a sudden the door opens, and I explained to them, look, I've just got this RV. I've parked in the parking lot in the space site next to you, and I can't get into my RV. So the guy grabs a flashlight. He comes down. He goes in and has a look. And what it was is that I needed to spray WD-40 into the locks and everything else because it wasn't fully unlocking the lock. So the bar for the lock wasn't fully unlocking. And so it took a little bit of work, but he finally got it open for me. And I was so appreciative and so grateful. But it took a lot for me to ask for help. And I'm standing there. I am so nervous. I am probably sweating buckets of sweat because I was so nervous. My insides was like flipping around. Thought I was going to throw up. And that's how much courage it took for me I had to overcome all of that to be able to ask for help. That's how difficult it is for me to ask for help at times. Sometimes it's easy when it's the little things, but it's when it's something that I should be able to do by myself and I can't do it. That's a whole nother ballgame. Like I should be able to unlock my RV. Yep, no, that didn't happen. So that's, if somebody saw me doing that, they could be turning around saying, oh, isn't that great? They're going and asking for help. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I couldn't do that. Yet they don't know what's going on inside my system, what is going through my head or anything else. So how can we carry forward? Ask yourself each day, what was the bravest thing I did today? Let that question shift your focus from outcomes to effort. Remember, last week we kept talking about divorcing the results and marrying the process and divorcing the results. This is kind of that same thing. Let your question shift your focus from outcomes to effort. What process or effort did you put into that you're married to instead of looking at the results? Uncover? What the heck is uncover? Encourage others to share your quiet wins. Those moments matter more than we think. Celebrate small courage. It's the seed of big change. Yes, definitely celebrate those small steps of courage. I mean, after this guy got me into my RV, we got the door on the RV unlocked. He played around with it while it was open and told me what the problem was. And I said, oh, yeah, I've got some WD-40. So we sprayed all the locks and everything else. And we were able to get that key to move more freely and worked like it should. And after I thanked him profusely for his help, and he went back to his RV, and I closed the door on mine and locked myself in because, well, actually, no, I had to go get the stuff out of the car first. Emptied out the car, put the stuff into the RV, and then once the car was emptied, locked it, hopped inside, and locked the door behind me. Then I was able to process what had just happened. The fact that I was locked out of my RV and I had to go and ask somebody for help. How did I feel? At that moment, I felt relief because I was now in my RV. I had if there weren't people in the RV next to me, I was going to have to go around all the RVs that were close to me to see if I could find somebody to help. But the fact that somebody on the first knock was there and able to help me was huge because it meant I didn't have to go. So there was a sense of relief in that. And I had to sit down, take a few deep breaths, and process everything. When we normalize everyday bravery, we teach others that courage is for everyone, not just heroes. You're each your own hero in your own way. Our quiet steps become someone else's path forward. Our honesty becomes their permission. So here are your questions for today to go into your, been working on stuff, into your porch light reflection journal on the, where do we go? This one. On your porch light notes page. This one on the other side says, what part of your story wants to be remembered right now? Oh, that's a good one. When I see this question, what part of your story wants to be remembered right now? I'll sit there, close my eyes, take a deep breath, and start writing about the first story of my past, my first story of my past that pops into my head and that gets written down. That's always a cool one to do. So here are your 4 questions. And sorry, I'm not changing my QR code up here in the corner because I want you to go and vote for the version of the best me I can be that you like. Is it Tui or is it Brody that you prefer? Their version, listen to the music's the lyrics are exactly the same. it's the music and their voices that are going to speak those lyrics to you. So which one do you get the most feelings from that? So your four reflection questions for today, which are in the comments below. What was number one, what was the bravest thing you did today? Number two, how did it feel in the moment? And how does it feel now? Now that you are through that bravest moment thing that you did today, how did it feel when you were going through it? And how does it feel now? What small act of courage could you celebrate more often? And number four, who needs to see your quiet bravery as proof that they can try too? People are always watching. And if you're around kids and grandkids and nieces and nephews, they watch, they pay attention. They look to see, what is it that you're doing? What's grandma doing? What's mum doing? What's dad doing? What's grandpa doing? What's auntie doing? What's uncle doing? They watch, they absorb, they learn. Yeah, remember that. And our closing thought for today, the bravest thing you did today might not have made noise, but it mattered. Keep showing up in tiny, powerful ways. That's how boldness becomes a life. And with that, we're out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific.